Hello guys, we are from Group 1 EDE Section 35 and for today we're going to present about the documentary of pickling.
Throughout this documentary, you will know about pickling definition, history of pickling, pickling process, demonstration video of pickling, science behind it, and benefit of pickling.
I know you guys wonder what exactly pickling is, so now we would like to tell you what is pickling.
Pickling is the process of preserving or extending the shelf life of food by either anaerobic fermentation in brine or immersion in vinegar. The pickling procedure typically affects the food's texture and flavor. The resulting food is called a pickle, or to prevent ambiguity, prefaced with pickle. Foods that are pickled include vegetable, fruits, meats, fish, dairy, and eggs. Pickling solutions that are typically highly acidic with a pH of 4.6 or lower and high in salt prevent enzymes from working and microorganisms from multiplying. Pickling can preserve perishable food for months. Antimicrobial herbs and spices such as mustard seed, garlic, cinnamon, or cloves are often added. If the food contains sufficient moisture, a pickling brine may be produced simply by adding dry salt. Like the canning process, pickling does not require that the food be completely sterile before it is sealed. The acidity or salinity of the solution, the temperature of fermentation, and the exclusion of oxygen determine which microorganisms dominate and determine the flavor of the end product.
Now, let's move to the history of pickling.
Pickles have been found for thousands of years when cucumbers from the native India were pickled in the Tigris Valley. First off, the name pickle originating from the Dutch word pekkel, which simply means brine and refers to the method used when pickling began. In short, it was salty water. Pickling began many years ago with Mesopotamians who were partial to preserving their cucumber. On the 17th century, by 1659, Dutch farmers in New York grew cucumbers all over the area that is now known as Brooklyn. On the 19th century, by 1858, John Mason designed and patented the first mason jar. Made out of heavier weight glass than normal jars, these were developed to withstand the high temperatures necessary for processing pickles. On the 20th century, by 1940 during World War II, On the 19th century, by 1858, John Mason designed and patented the first mason jar. Made out of heavier weight glass than normal jars, these were developed to withstand the high temperatures necessary for processing pickles. On the 20th century, by 1940 during World War II, the US government rationed pickles and 40% of the nation's production of pickles. Parker's International. The International Pickle Week was founded and first launched in 1893. On the 21st century, the first annual Pickle Day celebration happened in New York City.
Next, let's talk about pickle process.
Pickling is a brining process that was used to preserve foods. There are two methods used for pickling process. The first method is by preserving the food in an acidic solution. The acidic solution is usually made out of vinegar, lime juice, salt water, or sugar water. The acidity of the solution prevents bacteria from forming, multiplying, and ruining the food. The other method for pickling is by anaerobic fermentation. This method encourages the naturally occurred bacteria to break down carbs to create lactic acid. Then, the lactic acid creates an acidic environment that keeps off any harmful bacteria. A common misconception and misinformation about pickling is that people think that this process stops the food from completely aging and turning bad. In reality, however, pickling helps in slowing down the microbial activity so that the food does not expire quickly. Before the reign of electricity and refrigerators, pickling was a common practice to preserve foods. As one of the many ways to preserve food at the time, Many people from many different cultures have experimented with a plethora of methods and ingredients to find the right steps for the desired taste for their pickling. These people discovered that the flavors of the pickling brine will infuse with the pickled food. Some of more well-known pickled food are kimchi, a traditional spicy pickled vegetable from Korea, and sauerkraut, a fermented cabbage dish originated in Germany. Both of these dishes were made by the process of pickling, but with different methods and ingredients. The outcome of these two dishes differs in look and taste.
We have learned about pickling process. Now, let's move to demonstration video.
To make an easy homemade pickle, you need to prepare 1 cucumber or any vegetable or fruit of your choice, 1 cup of vinegar, 1 cup of water, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of salt, and an airtight jar. Firstly, you need to mix the vinegar, water, salt, and sugar all together and stir it until all the sugar and salt are dissolved. Pour the mixture into the airtight jar. This is firstly, you need then cut your cucumber into moderately thin, even slices. Then, place the cucumber slices into the jar with the brine and close the lid. Lastly, shake the jar well so that all the slices are coated in the brine. On that final note, your pickle is ready to be stored for a few hours so that the flavor can infuse for you. Place the cucumber.
Moving on, now let's uncover the science behind pickling process.
If you were to look at the preservation process through a different lens, you will understand that the preservatives that were used slows down the decaying process of a dead organism. As the process of food pickling is a way to preserve food, you can say that it is a way to control the food from decaying. Once an organism dies, its body responds by secreting decaying enzymes into the tissues to destroy it. Fortunately, the pickling brine are high in acidity and salt, which prevent the enzyme from working and creates an unsuitable environment for any microbial activities, thus slowing down the decaying process. Calcium, as we know, it is a type of mineral, and it can be found in a handful of today's cooking salt. The calcium from the salt used in the brine helps to preserve the crunchiness of the pickle. The topic of osmotic pressure can even be discussed in regards of pickling. The pickling brine, as we know, it is usually made out of vinegar, salt, and sugar. The salt and sugar in the brine doesn't just give the pickle a blend of sweet and sour taste. In fact, they produce a hypertonic solution. The brine will have a higher concentration of solute in them compared to the cells in the fruits or vegetables. The higher concentration of solute in the brine means that there are less water molecules in the brine compared to the cells of the pickle. In order to reach a stable and balanced osmotic pressure, the water molecules move out of the cells into the brine, which causes the fruits or vegetables to shrivel. As clear as the day, we can totally see that pickling your fruits and vegetables are both easy to do and consume less of our time. Nevertheless, a sacrifice must be made in order to prolong the pickle from expire as quickly. That sacrifice comes in the form of losing the food's nutritional value over time. The vinegar used in the brine also destroys some water-soluble vitamins such as vitamin B and C. These vitamins are crucial for a proper cell body functions and protect the cells from radicals.
Now, let's learn the benefit of pickling.
First, pickling increased shelf life. Pickling can help to extend the shelf life of your food. In addition, when done correctly, pickling can prevent harmful bacteria from growing and spoiling your food. Number 2. It gives extra flavor. In addition to extending your food's shelf life, Pickling can add an extra layer of food to your dishes. Number 3. Pickling improves gut health. Fermented foods, like pickled vegetables, are a great way to improve your gut bacteria. The benefits of pickling vegetables can help to improve your overall health. Number 4. Pickling are easy to do. Pickling is relatively easy to do and does not require any special equipment. All you need is a jar, some vinegar, and your desired fruits or vegetables. Number 5. It is inexpensive. Pickling is a cheap way to preserve your food. All you need is a jar, some vinegar, and your desired fruits and vegetables.
Now, let's move on to the conclusion.
Needless to say, the process of pickling foods has come a long way in history, through many cultures and even in our daily lives. Pickling have also come along a way in educating the population on the subject of food preservation beyond the surface level. For generations, we have learned how to prolong our food's shelf life through pickling. One can even step up their income game by selling products of pickled food. Undeniably, the progression of science and research goes hand in hand in improving the quality of pickling, not just by taste but also the nutritional values. In a lot of commercially produced pickled foods, the manufacturer would integrate the use of good bacteria that can produce B12 vitamins in the food. As a result, people now can enjoy the various tastes of pickled foods and even increase their nutritional intake. Last but certainly not least, our intestine in a way becomes a microbiome, a habitat for a lot of good and bad bacteria to live. Pickles help to protect our intestines by killing and getting rid of the bad bacteria from its microbiome. This results in the growth of good bacteria in our intestine. In return, they help our body to better digest foods and absorb its nutrients. On the surface, pickling is just a process to preserve food, but if you dive in deep into it, you will see that this process is actually rich in science, history, and culture. Even in this modern industrial era, this ancient method is still practiced and relevant to this day.
I would like to end our presentation with one of my favorite quotes, which is, "Great things are not done by one person. They done by team of people." That's all from our group. Thank you.
A high appreciation we would like to give to all members that have been helping to complete this assignment. A special shout out for our lecturer Dr. Shahira for her guidance toward this perfectly done documentary assignment. That's all from us. Thank you. See you.